Things are starting to heat up between Grant Hill and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown took exception to what Grant Hill had to say about Jaylen Brown being a conspiracy theorist. And Jaylen Brown fires back. He holds no punches, and he goes straight at Grant Hill. But before we get off into today's podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend. Well, things are starting to get ugly between Grant Hill and Jaylen Brown. Now, we all know what Grant Hill brings to the table. And, you know, he's on the USA basketball committee for the Olympics. And everybody had a problem with Jaylen Brown being snubbed off of the Olympic team. Now, we all know going into training camp for the USA Olympic team, they had a full roster. They had some injuries. Kevin Durant was dealing with a calf injury. We didn't know what Kawhi Leonard was going to bring to the table coming off an injury that he had with the Clippers, but he showed up to the Olympic training camp. But after a few days, you know, he dropped out. He took his name out, and they all came to a resolution that Kawhi Leonard would be no part of the Olympic team. So they was bidding for a replacement. Now, everybody thought that Jaylen Brown was going to be Kawhi Leonard's replacement, but that didn't happen. What happened was Derek White was the replacement for Kawhi Leonard. Everybody thought Jaylen Brown should have got the nod because of what Jaylen Brown did in the finals in the NBA and in the Eastern Conference. He was the Eastern Conference MVP, and then also he was the finals MVP. And now he's a champion with the Boston Celtics. So he got snubbed off of that USA roster. Now his teammate Jason Tatum made the roster. And now Kawhi Leonard was replaced with Derek White. Now everybody's going back and forth. And things are starting to get ugly between Grant Hill and Jaylen Brown. Now Grant Hill went on the Dan Patrick show and had some things to say when they asked him about what goes into the roster on how y'all decide who is going to make the team. Now, let's listen to what Grant Hill had to say, and then we're going to follow it up with Jaylen Brown's comments on him firing back at Grant Hill. Let's take a listen.
Jaylen Brown didn't make the roster, but his teammate Derek White does. What goes into that decision?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So, you know, we went to training camp and we didn't have KD. KD was out, Kevin Durant, you know, sort of coming back from a calf injury. And then Jason Tatum was late for arrival. He didn't show up the first 2 or 3 days. So, you know, we ended up having to sort of play Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo together. And we didn't know if that would work. I think going into camp, we thought, let's have 3 centers, much like in '96 when we had Akeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, and Shaquille O'Neal. And we'll rotate. All 3 of them are different. They provide different things. And so we'll have sort of
Grant Hill's deflecting right here. He's really deflecting.
But what we found, because we didn't have the numbers those first few days, was that Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis can really play well together on both ends of the floor. And at times might be our best defensive lineup. So we kind of stumbled upon something, and we learned something about our group during those 4 days in Vegas. And so when we pivoted off of Kawhi Leonard, we said, okay, we got a little bit of a log jam now at the 4 position. You know,
he's
LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, now Bam Adebayo. All these guys can play the 4, and we envisioned them playing the 4. And so, okay, let's not bring another guy who might play that 3-4 position in. Let's bring in someone now who can really give us great defense at the point of attack. that was also
y'all
a
heard
priority
that. Great
for putting this
defense
team
at the
together.
point of attack.
Being able to pick up full court, guard and pressure the point guards of opposing teams. And Drew Holiday might be the best in the world at doing this. But having some injuries that we had during camp, but what happens if Drew gets hurt? You know, and so Derek White might be the second best in the world at point of attack defense.
Wow.
So that was sort of the thought process, but we really learned about our team those days in Vegas and discovered something with Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis on the court together that we really weren't thinking about prior to our arrival in Vegas.
Did you call Jaylen Brown to tell him or explain this to him?
Listen how Grant Hill stutters and
to his
couldn't
agent,
really get it out.
And, you know, I spoke to his agent. We, you know, I don't know if that was before or
stumbling
after,
and bumbling.
You know, things went out on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, I think this idea that there's a conspiracy theory. I always love a good conspiracy theory, but you
That's
know,
outlandish,
it was
Grant Hill.
really, truly a basketball decision.
And you're a nice
These
guy.
are tough decisions, you know. But having gone through this with the FIBA competition, you want to find the right balance and the right pieces on the court that we needed. And not to say that he wouldn't have been good. There's a lot of guys. You can go on a list of guys who are very capable and very very qualified.
Grant Hill.
You know, for where we were, it was the right decision. And Derek White, I think, will help us as we pursue goal.
Now, y'all heard what Grant Hill had to say. Now, when he made emphasis on the point of attack defense, ain't that what Jaylen Brown did in the NBA Finals? The point of attack defense on Luka Doncic, one of the best in the world. How he contained Luka Doncic, picked him up 94 feet, was telling his coach, when Luka's in, I'm in. If Luka takes a blow, then I can get a blow. But as soon as Luka goes back in, I'm right back on his heels. And that's what Jaylen Brown did. That's what Jaylen Brown showed us in the NBA Finals when the Mavericks faced the Boston Celtics. He showed his versatility. He showed he could be a two-way player, and he showed that he can lock down on defense. And he did an exceptional job on Luka Doncic. And Grant Hill emphasized the point of attack defense. I could understand him saying Drew Holiday because Drew Holiday, like I told people, when Drew Holiday was traded from Milwaukee to Boston, Boston was my favorite. And what happened? They won an NBA championship because Drew Holiday is one of them two-way players. He locks you down on defense and the point of attack. Derek White, I really didn't see that point of attack defense in Derek White. He's an exceptional defender, but if you ask me, what Jaylen Brown did in the NBA Finals should have got him the nod on that Olympic team. And if you're asking me right now, Jason Tatum shouldn't be on that Olympic team. Jason Tatum should have been the odd man out. Jaylen Brown should have been in there hands down. But Jaylen Brown fired back at Grant Hill. Let's take a look at Jaylen Brown's tweet. Let's take a look at it. Jaylen Brown said, Grant Hill calling me a conspiracy theorist is disappointing. I've been a VP since I was 21 years old and have a great understanding. He just put that tweet out there today at 9 o'clock this morning after Grant Hill sat down with Dan Patrick. Now, Jaylen Brown is visibly upset. And like I said, Jaylen Brown is a nice guy. He articulates well when he speaks. And, you know, he just let Grant Hill know he's disappointed, calling him a conspiracy theory. Now, let's take it back to early in July. These are the tweets that Jaylen Brown put out there because everybody thought Nike had something to do with it. Now, let's take a look at these tweets earlier. Jaylen Brown said, I'm not afraid of you or your resources. And then he said, at Nike, this is what we doing. And then Jaylen Brown got the, magnifying glass looking around. So Jaylen Brown, man, he's a smart individual, man. And for Grant Hill to have war words with Jaylen Brown, that's not a good look, man. And Jaylen Brown don't bother nobody. They say he's not marketable and things like that. But let's take a listen to what Jaylen Brown said, when Cam Newton was asking him some questions at the ESPYs. And then that'll be followed up of, some of Carmelo's takes. Let's take a listen.
How do you feel about the USA team right now, bro?
What you mean?
Why aren't you there? Do you feel away?
I don't really got no comment. You know what I mean?
Now, come on, home team.
Is this more of a motivation for you now Absolutely.
Are you all fired up? I mean,
Super fired up. You know, I got all the motivation in the world to just come out and improve. So I love it.
what was that about? Do you think they had any role in you being left on?
I do for sure. There'd be more stuff to come with that. But as of now, I'm not gonna comment on it.
The whole Jaylen Brown situation with the
Listen
Team
to what
USA.
Carmelo
What are
had
your
to say.
thoughts of him being left off the team?
I think he should have got a shot. For whatever reason it is, you can't make it that obvious. This man busts his ass. He works hard. He take everything that people say about him. He's not marketable. He's not this. He's not that. And he go win the championship and do it the way he did it.
Now, you guys, y'all heard what Jaylen Brown had to say. Like, Jaylen Brown said he's using this as motivation. He thinks Nike has a part of it because of the tweet he said, Nike, is this what we're doing? Now, you know, also, he was upset that he thought that at the Summer League game that Nike leaked the video of him talking to Angel Reese and, you know, whatever name, his girl, you know. So, you know, they was over there having a conversation, and he thought that Nike leaked that out. Godger said, you know what I'm saying? So, talking about Bronny. So, you know, he's critical of Nike right now. And also, you know, he's firing back at Grant Hill, man. It's getting ugly, man. But, you know, it is what it is. You guys let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. And like I said, I'd love to hear from you. But this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces. And remember, on your way out the door, when you put your shoes on, do me a favor. Give this video a thumbs up.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.